Yo, what's going on, y'all? I'm JBHOOPS, and today I'm back with day 3 of the Summer League Standout series. And let's just get into it with the first game of the day, which was the Pacers versus the Kings. I don't think there was really any particular standout for the Pacers, but as for the Kings, I think Nehemias Queta was amazing. He had 12 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 blocks in just 16 minutes. Again, he showed his polished game. He was super dominant inside. It just looked huge out there. And he also hit another 3, so if he can have that range, he's going to be a beast. He runs the floor hard, sets good screens, and I definitely believe in him as an NBA player, and I think he deserves minutes this upcoming season. I think Sean McDermott was another standout for the Kings. He shot very well, made some really nice cuts, and ended up with 18 points on 7 of 9 shooting in just 17 minutes of action. Keegan Murray continued to impress, and again I was impressed by some of the passes Keon Ellis made, as he ended the game with 6 assists. The next game of the day was the Sixers versus the Nets. As for the Sixers, I think Cassius Winston had a great game. He put up 16 points and 7 assists. He's a crafty scorer, is able to play at his own pace, and was just really good at setting up his teammates this game. For the Nets, I think Dayron Sharp was just dominant. He's just way too big for anyone to handle. He also made some nice passes and was really solid defensively. I really like how he rolls to the basket. He ended up with 13 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, and 5 stocks, along with a massive poster that was just crazy. I was also impressed by Alondes Williams in this one. He made some really nice passes and ended up with 9 points and 5 assists. I was really shocked that he went undrafted, but he definitely could earn some minutes for the next roster as a backup point guard this season. Cam Thomas and David Duke Jr. also had pretty solid games, but we kind of expect that from them now. But I did like what Cam Thomas was able to do this game as a playmaker. The Knicks really dominated in their matchup against the Bulls. I think Quentin Grimes showed more of what he's capable of. His shot started falling and he just looked really comfortable out there. He also made some really nice passes and put up 24 points. I think another sophomore for the Knicks that was super impressive in this one was Miles McBride. He had 14 points and 6 assists. He was really solid defensively, made some really nice passes, and was also able to create for himself. I think the Knicks are going to be very solid this year. They re-signed Mitch Robinson, brought in Isaiah Hartenstein. However, there is also some downside with signing them bigs. That pretty much leaves Jericho Sims as the third string big, which is very unfortunate because he is amazing and ready to play NBA minutes. So I really hope he gets some opportunity. The next game we're going to talk about was the Nuggets versus the Cavs. I really liked what I saw from Ishmael Kamagate. He made some impressive passing reads, finished well inside, crashed the offensive glass and ended up with 5 offensive rebounds. And he also showed off his defensive versatility, ending up with 10 points, 9 rebounds and 2 blocks. If I was the Nuggets, I think I'd much prefer Kamagate as the backup center than DeAndre Jordan, but it is what it is, and Kamagate will probably come over in the next few years. Penn Watson also had a very good game. He dropped 19 points and I thought he was very impressive. He was able to create for himself, get downhill and finish through contact. And whilst I think he is probably a few years away from being an impactful player, he is a good long-term upside guy for the Nuggets. For the Cavs, I think Marcilla was very impressive again. He also even hit a 3 today, so that's super impressive, and I think he's definitely one to look out for, competing for a two-way spot. Next up, onto probably the most anticipated matchup of the day, which was the Warriors versus the Spurs. It was great to see James Wiseman back on the court. He was very solid in this one. He threw down a oop on the first play, hit a 3, and showed off his defensive versatility. He still needs to control his fouling tendencies, but for the most part, he was very solid. Kuminga had a really good bounce-back game. He dropped 28 points, but I think the biggest standout of this game was McClung. He dropped 22 points and dished out 6 assists and just looked really comfortable out there. He was able to get to his spots, finish inside and create for others, and I definitely think we'll see him on an NBA roster this season. The Spurs were pretty average overall, but Blake Wesley was again solid. His shot looks super clean, his burst is really tough. He still definitely has to improve as a finisher, but I think he has the most potential on the Spurs roster to be their lead guard. The second last game of the day was the Wolves versus the Grizzlies. This was a fucking terrible game for both teams. They shot a combined 7 of 64 or 10.9% from 3. Santi Aldama was somewhat of a bright spot. He dropped 22 points and 6 steals, but most of his points were just in transition and off easy cuts, and the steals a lot of the time just came from bad passes, but it still was somewhat of a promising performance. Now until probably the most exciting game of the day, which was the Hornets versus the Lakers. We saw it go into sudden death overtime. For the Hornets, I was really impressed with Tyshawn Alexander. He had 22 points and 6 assists, knocked down 4 of his 9 threes, set up his teammates really well, and made some really clutch plays down the stretch. And then as for the Lakers, I think Cole Swider was amazing in this one. He strung together a couple of very good games. In this one, he dropped 21 points on 6 of 10 shooting, including going 5 of 8 from 3. He's definitely looking like a guy who will have a super long career in the NBA. His shooting stroke is just so pure and he's a really good off-ball mover. And I think he'll earn a significant role for the Lakers this year as they desperately need shooters. And that is all I got for the Day 3 recap of the Summer League best performances and standouts. Subscribe if you want to see this series more. I'm moving on to the 2023 draft after this, and I'll also probably include some NBA off-season videos and predictions for the season. So subscribe if you want to see those, turn nerdies on, and that's all I got. JB Hoops, out.